held off talking about the war in the last few days. And I'm glad I did, because things have moved very quickly. I was tempted to make a kind of almost mocking the Iranians video. It's like explaining it slowly that they need to actually surrender. Although I've spoke about this conflict at length, haven't I? Previously, so it's a matter of, for people who follow, and there's a few of you, I do owe it to follow up, don't I? Know there's been a big change in the war situation. And I'm like, that's what's happened is actually fucking astonishing move, Trump. Excellent. I was going to make a video about him going through the motions of saying, look, Supreme Leader, your air defence has been destroyed. You need to accept this and really think hard about what you do now. All right, it's like the Israeli Air Force can hunt in your airspace at will now, facing no opposition. They can blow whatever they want. And by now you've realised that their intelligence gathering operation that's been going on in your country for God knows how many years that you've been fighting a Cold War has given them everyone's address practically. And they can just pick you off at will. It's a matter of, we've telegraphed it. The B-2 bombers have been sent to Guam. You know what kind of munitions we're going to drop on you. You already know. And it's like, when you guys were planning on building that big nuclear installation inside that mountain, you had an idea that we wouldn't be able to break into it and destroy it. And it's a matter of, well, I'm sorry, but technology has passed your plans by, and yes, we can destroy it. And you don't seem to understand, right? When you've got like a great big installation full of centrifuges, a bit of boom boom, shake shake the room will soon see them done, destroyed. You don't have to blow them up, you just have to put enough vibration through them so they're no longer, beyond being further calibrated. In essence, knock them off kilter. They are centrifuges. Put a really big vibration through them like a great big bomb, and they're done for, they're finished. And it's a matter of, it does appear, I'm looking at what they're saying and the way that it's going round, I think that they've cracked that shell, they've destroyed that place. And I was thinking that Trump is playing the perfect game by telegraphing this attack. And then there was some nonsense came up saying you've got 2 weeks to sort yourselves out, and then he just immediately struck them. Because he's making this play in plain sight. We've transferred the bombers to Guam. We know you might be living in a fucking dream world where you think you might be able to stop us, but we've already neutralised your air defence and you've got nothing to even see us, let alone stop us. B-2 bomber represents the biggest non-nuclear threat of a weapon in the world. Dirty. And I mean, you've got it these days as to what possible option has Iran been given the way that things have been thrust upon them in the last few weeks by way of, oh, we need to develop some kind of super weapon, build a nuclear weapon. It's like, yeah, you could do that in a week. And an extremely low percentage of Israeli weapons that have been fired at Israel have got through Israel's defences. A very small amount. So over in it. It's like technology passed Iran by, and as much as they've tried to, it's like first Hezbollah. You see, there are layers of defence. There was layers of defence. There was the Syrian air defence. They had the gear. Hezbollah air defences. They had the gear. It's like They had like 3 to 4 real strong lines of defence, and they one by one taken down, dismantled, not put back. So in the end, it's like, Israeli fighter planes, bombers have been able to just unfettered do whatever they want in Iranian airspace for a week and more. And the way that the world has turned, the old way of doing war in the desert that was shown to be successful was shown to be successful by the Israelis themselves, was tanks, mass tanks, support troops. Because of the wide open spaces and the importance of the high ground and the good places to defend, the tank ruled the desert. Who wouldn't want an army of tanks? And it's like this national move that they've had towards building a mechanised army, like a First World Army. But it's also Iran have built a Cold War army. The great fantasy that you'll speak of if you talk about people who follow this and who are on basically the side of the righteous Muslims, you'd hear of fantasies about them shelling Haifa and invading it with tanks, understanding if you can get to Haifa, it's done, it's game over. And all the plans that have been drawn up in the minds of all these great tacticians of the Middle East is like Iron Dome being kept secret as to how impressive it was. Ended all of those ambitions. It was all over 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when they had another go, when the Hamas launched that missile attack and we got to see Iron Dome live. And I'm talking about that then, saying, no, we've just seen the greatest weapons demonstration in history. This is the new game changer. This is the thing that's going to make all ballistic weapons a waste of money. It's like, give them enough demonstrations of it. Give countries demonstrations of that system and these city-states, your Dubais and your Qatars, and they'll be like, can we have one of them? Can we buy one of them? It's not only good against rockets, it can shoot down artillery shells as well. Iron Dome. It can shoot down shells. And it's like Hamas, oh God, someone needs to come along and tell me what they had in their heads, thinking that Allah, right? Allah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Think about this. Let's have this chat. Well, Islam is a reformation of Judaism. It's a reset. They're all Abrahamic religions, as everyone knows. But it's like Allah, they preach the same God. Allah's an all-seeing eye God. Allah's a God that's on your case, watching everything you do. And so is the old boss. It's actually, Islam is supposedly a reformation and a return to the true faith of Judaism. So it's like Allah's a massive player in events. If that's the way you want to play it, it's a massive player in Allah's a massive player in events. Now, Allah being in essence the Abrahamic old God, right? The best way of communing with that God is you'll see it in movies as like the funny God joke, and you show the scene of horror is shown, and the good Christian says, "Are you watching this?" Are you getting all this? Are you seeing this? And it's like people wait, don't they? They in their right way remonstrate to God. They're quite angry at God, as to say, "You let all this happen," don't they? Some of them. And it's a matter of, there is a God, and God does take notice, and it's like, but it can take a while to wake God from his slumber. It's just, what might just tip the scale? Oh, you kill a couple of thousand Jews in a day. How about that? Just as pure bloodletting, as pure blood magic. Do something like that, even though it's combustible. There will be a repercussion. Do a lot of it. It's just old-fashioned, if you like, blood magic. Kill enough of them, and someone will take notice. Well, it's a matter of, well, God did what, John? Yes. Right? So it's a matter of, God took notice of them. And it's a matter of these Islamic Republic types, these clerics, they're able to maintain control based on, in essence, maintaining certain traditional frameworks and values, right? And there's no escaping the fact that Allah is an all-seeing God. And Allah doesn't see a difference between the people of the book, as the non-radical Islamists would call the Jews. God doesn't discriminate. So you go to the mullahs, you go to the clerics, and you say to them, because they're not stupid, do not assume they're stupid, and assume in some regards that mouthing off and saying the right thing and doing the right thing to keep your own people appeased and stay in power is the game. You go to them with, we've just had a massive bloodletting of Jews. Now is the time for us to strike. Now is the time to rise up. This is the great intifada. And the Muslims highest up in the faith say, you want us to make edicts and sign fatwas and rally populations to go in straight after you've just slaughtered a load of innocents. Called it on day one, me. I'm like, surrender, Hamas, surrender. And it's like, those in this country would pressure our government and our political system to, in essence, do something to stop the slaughter. It's no, you're wasting your time. Nothing that can be done in the UK is going to stop what's coming. No one in this country can do anything to stop what's coming. It's like you have awakened the god of war that taught Sun Tzu how to fight. It's like you're going to get a close-up look here of like this, extra figure in all our lives that we all take for granted or call something different. You're going to wait to see as to when that force, right, gets into league with the people who it most wrestles with. Those who carry that weight on the shoulders, the Israeli. Those who wrestle with God, we who wrestle with God, it's a matter of suddenly God's not wrestling no more. Suddenly God's like, right, okay, now we're here together. I mean, it would have been quite a thing, wouldn't it, for the Israelis to have, in essence, lost their minds and ordered their troops to go and raid and invade Gaza, but they'd lose a few, wouldn't they? Calling it from day one, I'm like, they got to surrender. It's like, why? It's like, because the Israelis cannot afford to lose their standing army in a battle or a war. It just makes them open to be attacked later in the day by whatever forces remain. They don't need to go in and take a load of casualties. It's like the morale of their people. It's going to be tested when loads, thousands of guys come home dead, body bags. They're not going to fight that war. They're not going to even offer it. All you can expect from them is to get thrashed from fucking miles away. You're going to get hammered from long range, and they can be they'll use that to the best they can. They'll use precision weaponry, but it's impossible to be precise with grenades, rockets, bombs. It's impossible. You're always going to fuck something up. Secondary concussion. Yeah, get yourself near enough to a high explosive going off, and yeah, it'll fucking cook you. And leave you maimed in a very bad way. The precision weapons, real deadly, there's no such thing as it. So it's like, as you get that place, it's like casualties are going to start mounting up and mounting up and mounting up and mounting up. And then it's a matter of those who are ostensibly, the Gaza Authority, who always claim themselves to be in the middle of Hamas, and that they're the, right with the information. They turn it into a numbers game. They become them people who start to happily inflate casualty numbers because it makes our enemies look bad. And it's like, that's not going to win you a war. It's not going to get you anywhere near it ending. It's not an attitude to get a deal done. And it's like, you need to get a deal done, or a lot of your civvies are going to die, and the rest of them are going to be just broken by this war. I was being real mean about a year since, talking about the pro-Palestinians, as to where it's like, I care about them people more than you do. Because your energy being placed in the wrong place. You, in essence, backing the wrong side in this war has seen a lot of Palestinians dead. I'll put it to you. International moves have not made a damn bit of difference to Israel getting up to what it's needed to do. Nothing. There's no will to stop them. Why? Nobody wants to be seen going in after those 1,500 to 2,000 Israelis killed in 1 and 2 days of what can only be seen to have been some, in essence, kind of Tet offensive style, all in. And then I hear people who will dismiss what happened on that day and say that Israel let it happen. And it's like, well, it's a bit different from doing it, isn't it? Let it happen. Or will they just let it happen? And then it just be dismissed. And then you get others say, well, they killed a lot of their own, most of the people, they killed their own. It's like, you can't prove that. They'll deny it. And you can't prove it. So that's wind. That's not getting you any nearer understanding the situation. Those armed with the truth, have you seen what they've been capable of? The truth, where it's a matter of, we've taken foreign journalists in and we've shown them videos of the worst of the fucking horrors that we found. From the soldiers' body cams and things like that. As to say, you see what we're up against here? And it's like, that never went away. I'm saying it at the time, I'm like, look, it's like, none of these countries around are, I'm trying to tell the guy who's in Bradford, who's getting on a coach every fucking week and going to Manchester or London to protest, stop the Israelis, and it'd be a matter of, mate, it's like, there is nothing within your power, nothing you can do. All you're doing here is investing heavily on backing a side that's got itself, it's basically going to be on the wrong side of the biggest ass kicking in human history. And it's a matter of, it's only by, modern standards, it's only by the modern world as to where, if they found themselves in such a deadly struggle 1,000 years ago, they become one of those races that no one's ever fucking heard of anymore, like the Thracians and the like. Powerful people, gone. No one knows where they are. They know where they came from, but they know there ain't no more of them. And it's like, why? And it's like, because they proved themselves to be belligerent to a more powerful empire. gone. Prove themselves forever belligerent as to say, these guys are never going to stop. The Jews have nearly been that people as well. Nearly been that people. But they've had terrible mortal wounds done to their collective psyche. As to where Hitler's legacy lives on in the way that the world is fascinated with just race. Critical race theory and the like. It's like, that's what 6 million worth of blood magic bought Hitler. That's the change to the world he made. Suddenly everything's about identity politics, isn't it? All Hitler could have ever dreamed of. Then I put it plain to him, and by the time I was around people who were of that, you can't say the J word without them just all freaking out. Workers' Party. Which makes them blind to what they could be doing as an active UK political party, because all of their energy is consumed by protesting for the rights of the Palestinians, a faraway people. That this country hasn't got any power to aid whatsoever. You'll find no will in our government to do anything for the Palestinians, because what do you want them to do? Invade? They can't do anything, so they're not going to do anything. They'll say a few things. Why? Well, it's pretty unseemly what those guys did, isn't it? Still all about October the oh, well, it's been made up for that. They've killed this many of us. Like, nah, you're never making up for that outrage. It's like they'll use that to kick your ass forever. No, that changed the world, that. They'll never, ever forgive that outrage. It'll all stem back to that. And the story goes something like, yeah, Hamas attacked us. They brutalised our civilians. We knew that they were paid by, we knew it were all funded by the Iranians. They were behind it all. They might not have given it the green light, but they certainly paid for it. They certainly provided the material and the expertise for them to do what they did. And we repelled them, we killed them, we invaded, we killed as many of them as we could, we destroyed their infrastructure, we found their tunnels, we found their caches. And you know what? We had about 2 weeks when nobody was doing anything about it. And there was nobody coming to save the Palestinians. And we have lone voices like yours truly here, saying to those people who are attempting to say to those people who are on the streets in Manchester, please stop. Use whatever influence you've got to try and get some kind of word through different channels as to say, you need to stop. You need to surrender. Otherwise, thousands and thousands of these people are going to die. Don't appeal to the Israelis for mercy. It's not available. You have to earn that. You have to be penitent. You have to it's like, no, the guy who's at the wheel now for the Israelis, it's like it's not Netanyahu either. It's a collective, it's a spirit that's like, we're not being lied to again. You're not going to make us promises of a ceasefire and appeasement only to break it a couple of years down the line when you've built your strength up. No, we're not accepting that ever again. We're not being lied to, we're not being deceived. We're just going to sit about here. Israel could be seen to have eliminated Hamas, eliminated Hezbollah, toppled Assad, and then created a nice bit of airspace for the final battle, which they won on their own. Trump came in at the end of the day with that was where it sat. This is exactly what Trump did, and it's almost a genius move. It's a genius move. The Israelis are in one corner, the Iranians are in the other. The Iranians are refusing to communicate and cooperate, and the Israelis are saying, well, we want their nuclear weapons program to be destroyed. So the price of peace suddenly becomes US intervention to give Israel what it wants, right? Understanding that Israel has won the war. And the war is over. Trump just gave them what they wanted, so they've got no excuse to continue to fight. He's given the Israelis an out as to where they can say, we won, and no one will be able to argue. There'd be no yeah but. And Israel's compelling reason to perpetually be taking part in this war of assassins with Iran is no longer on the table. It's gone, it's been done, it's finished. It's like I'm having to take a day or two to settle as to what the international repercussions of this act are going to be. It's like, I don't see that any power in the world, because it was I exchanged words with Sam Vaknin the other day, who always goes with these sort of fears. And it's like, this is terrible, this. It's like China will get involved. It's like we're at the verge of World War III. And I'm like, no, we're not. No. And there's still no one's interested in going in. No one's interested in going in. You've knocked big atrocity, outrage. The boss is awakened, and he's doing war with an absolute moral imperative. And those who suffer so valiantly out in the world, your Max Blumenthal's and all that, your George Galloway's and your Jimmy Dores and all these lot who for the years have been banging the drum for the Palestinians and siding with them in this, they were completely betrayed and left in an indefensible position by the October 7th attacks. And they just went round with it. So it's a matter of, by this stage of it, they have suffered 1,000 reverses. Imagine how batshit crazy Candice Owens is this minute, understanding that Israel have just pulled off the biggest victory in their history. How do you think she feels about it? Because she made an enemy of Israel. I am no friend of Israel. They've never done fuck all for me. But I understand them. I understand them real well. I also understand that living for hate shit that people are having imposed upon them in that part of the world. So I ain't no friend of Hamas. I think they're despicable fuckers. You're raising kids to hate. You get them off the wrong, the whole lot of them off on the wrong foot in life. You in essence building a fire to be used against your enemies in the young, and you're not giving them kids any instructions about how to turn that fire out in the future, are you? None at all. You're just leaving them to it. You're just abandoning those fucking people. You've banged yourself up in one of the Emirates in a neutral territory and left the Palestinian people to fend for themselves and refused to cooperate or surrender. And it'd be a matter of, I had a problem with that right from the start, and I'm like, how can you justify that? And why, oh why, is this an army where it's a massive problem? And I saw it coming. I say you couldn't fail. But the narrative of the history of the Israeli-Arab conflicts have been going. You've got something like 75 years to a meaningful shit to catch up on. 75 years you need to look into. 75 years. And certain people with the critical theory, critical race theory types they managed to instill it in the imaginations of many of the young as being simply about white colonialist versus black victim. Now, I've noticed this over years boiling up as to where the Palestinian cause movement found a very, very handy home within the left to apply the critical theory then to Israel. Well, they're white people. Apparently, Jews count as white people. Okay. Oh, you've put everyone into this pyramid, and Jews just count as nondescript white people. Okay, so you're saying that it's like okay to kill Jews? It's well, they are white privileged colonial oppressors. Oh, so you've painted the whole thing as that, and that be a thing, and a simplified understanding of it be what's rattling around in a lot of people's heads who are deciding to take action, hit the streets. It's like from any angle you can start telling stories of Mr. fucking hard done by when your country's been, in essence, at war in one way, shape or form for the last 75 years. We're beyond good and evil. We're at what are these people capable of? That's where we're at. They hate us. What are they capable of? You see what they were capable of. And you see the extent as to how the Israelis would deal with such offence from now on. Won't even give you anything to shoot at. They'll blow you away from a fucking mile away. And it's like this Stalingrad type battle that Hamas were expecting to fight. There was no way in the world that Israel was ever going to engage in that battle, ever. All you will ever see is a line of tanks lined up at the edge of that territory, just receiving orders and launching shells. Self-propelled artillery becomes the only weapon that's required. Your power then becomes constant observation and just sorties of small bombs, picking you off all day. Never interested enough to get in range of your weapons, your primitive weapons. Like, who signs up for that war? Who? I don't think anyone's for thanking any of their leaders that dragged them into such a suicidal act. It's like Israel is small, but it's like Israel's military, and not so much the military as the tactics they use, the know-how. It's like they're going to fight against you in exactly the same way as the Russians are fighting the Ukrainians. They're going to outgun you, but whereas Ukraine are at a gun disadvantage, it's like Hamas haven't got any guns at all. Well, it's still belligerent, they're still launching rockets, they're still trying to kill. And people saying, all the children have died, all the women that have died, and the Israelis have killed all these women and children. It's like, well then surrender. Call for Palestinians to surrender. Surrender. And then the killing will stop. And it's like, it just didn't compute with any of them, that nobody was in the right mind talking about it. I was straight up surrender. Really. It's like, for the sake, for the love of God, if you want to save those people, surrender. This is going to get bad. Because the Israelis are not going to stop. They're not standing for any of it again. They're just not going to have it. They're not going to have it as to where. I said it I've been trying to tell people. You know that every time there's a bit of a flare up between the Palestinians, Hamas, Hezbollah, all sides like to walk away saying they won. The Palestinian version of it is, they didn't destroy us, therefore we won. Well, we won that war. What? The Israelis, under international pressure, showed restraint, right? and concessions were made, right? And you call that winning a war, and that they repetitively do it, and I think they've 100%. They'll teach kids that defeats were victories. The great victory we had this and the great, and it's not. It's like no. They want to make sure this time there's absolutely no mistaking in anyone's mind who fucking won. I think they've fought the best war anyone's ever fought. I think Sun Tzu's looking down on them next to God, saying they learned, didn't they? They did as they were told. Yes, they did, son. You see that meme that went around? I think it was probably one of the greatest, funniest memes. It was like a picture drawn by a child after the intelligence coup where the Israelis were able to blow up all those pages, which was the end of Hezbollah. I'm like, this is the end of Hezbollah. You don't come back from that. They've been terrorised, blown to pieces, defeated. They don't exist. Forget it. George Galloway's on his podcast saying, "Oh, they've not given up fighting yet. You know, you've another thing coming. If you think any of you explode." No, the morale was shattered by that. They were astonished by it. Shock and awe will give people PTSD and shell shock, mate. Where they'll be like, "What the fuck? You get that now injected into your chain of command. You're done." Who isn't affected by just rapid onset fucking shell shock PTSD? Nah, there's the greatest move ever made in a war situation as to where, yeah, that was something the Israelis had planned for years and had up their sleeve for just the right occasion. And they didn't waste it. Iran, yeah, they got quite an impressive land army of tanks, conventional, lots of them. It's like they're never gonna see a battlefield. They're done. They'll be fucking sold, scrapped, because they're obsolete weapons. They're not stupid, the Iranians, so they don't, in essence, as the word spaff or spunk their own armies. They use, they pay for, recruit, and basically use armies of fucking fanatics and crackpots from. Well, they find plenty of people who feel they've got a compelling reason to fight, and they fund them. They use proxies who do their killing and dying for them. They show a massive unwillingness to put their own personnel in a lot of danger, the Iranians, and it's like they ain't got no stomach for to go ahead with the war they might have planned. They always were just keeping alive this idea that if everyone fired all the rockets at once and we all just fucking hell for leather to Haifa, we could destroy Israel in a day. The shit, you'd hear him talk about how powerful the Iranians were and how powerful their friends were. And you can find the back chat, the back channels of this. I had years of hearing it from people who were anti-Israeli, saying, you know, if they just all got together and they all stuck as one, and someone tried to pull it off out of desperation. And there's a fucking other thing as well that's come into play just today, and I could have told you this. I didn't mention it though. I will have mentioned it at some stage, is that Iran have got the ability to pretty much sink every ship in the Persian Gulf with anti-ship missiles. And they'd be mostly undefended ships as well, mostly oil tankers, container ships. Now that's a threat they've always been able to pose as to where, okay, you get real funny with us, you put us on the back foot and we will close the Strait of Hormuz. And in doing so, blockade Bahrain, Qatar, Dubai, blockade all these places. Blockade them all. 20% of the world's oil goes through there, and as they say, most of its natural gas, a lot of natural gas goes through there. Qatar. Now you fucking start blasting that, and you would manage to just piss off every country in the world straight away if you started to sink ships in the Strait of Hormuz. It's like any support that Iran had at all would immediately evaporate. And as a thing, games like that you might have got away with them in the 80s and 90s, right? Attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz, but it's 2025 and them emirates have become very, very powerful and very, very rich and very, very influential. And it's like the way that it stands now, Iran haven't got the bones or the ability to resist even the emirates. If they were to decide to turn on Iran, would be a major problem for Iran. It would be a major problem for them, for all the emirates to turn on them. Imagine that, blockading Qatar. The Persian Gulf, as one side of it, has become just a place where money seems to just accumulate, and in incredible ways, where they're pumping it out of the ground, and then people from the rest of the world are turning up and investing in it. It's like this is not the place it was 30 years ago, as to where you could bend them to your will. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that anymore. These places have become rich and advanced and influential. It's like you can't start dicking around in the Strait of Hormuz and threatening them, because they can do you some harm. The West has become too codependent on them to even think about it. It's like, if this moment in time there's some kind of vengeful plan to start sinking ships in the Strait of Hormuz, it's like, if anything in this world was to be severely punished with, like malicious sort of heavy destruction, it'd be that. I have a feeling that, if orders were given by the high commanders in Iran right now to start launching anti-ship missiles in the Strait of Hormuz, I don't think them orders would get followed. Because the thing is with Iran, at this moment in time, apart from having had its air defence networks destroyed and its nuclear industry decimated, it's intact. Wouldn't it be wondrous for it to stay intact? Leaving the people to it, right? I hope that doesn't happen. I hope there's no uprising in Iran that gets, in essence, because then if you do that, it's a different dynamic. It's the who works for the government and who doesn't situation, because it's an entrenched communist dictatorship with Allah. So to set for it to fall into uprising, civil war, that's mean to fucking let it end up like that. It's like the pressure needs to remain on its leadership to stand and step down. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's got to be there's regime change, as they say, but it has to be at this stage of the game a negotiated one. It's the only way that it doesn't end up the normal people of Iran rising up against their state. And like, if you listen to what the Iranians say, it's not for European consumption, it's for their own people's consumption. They're trying to say today that they've won their war with to their own people. They're trying to say they've won, and they've forced a ceasefire from the Israelis, and they're calling it a victory because they're talking to their own people. It's like control of their own people is absolutely paramount to them. The whole endeavour of doing war the way they do it is not to, in essence, destroy their own power base. They found a way of being able to manage limited war through proxy at the same time as keeping the people ostensibly under control. And it's like those situations are not sustainable anymore, because it's like, well, the boogeyman has just destroyed us. It's like Apple Plus There's a TV channel, Apple Plus. There was a two series, a spy thriller made by the Israelis called Tehran. It was excellent, actually. It's an excellent television program. Excellent. And I mean it. Brilliant. And it's like, to watch it now might seem hawky because the world it was set in no longer exists. And the Israeli lady who plays the lead in that show, when Hezbollah's pages started exploding, she was giving it all that, weren't she, on Twitter and Instagram. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, she's there in her IDF uniform giving it all that. So that show's not coming back. Shame. You know, in that show there was an attack that the Iranians actually won their version of the strike against their nuclear facilities. In the show Tehran, the Iranians won. The Iranian air defence wipes the floor with the Israelis because they leaked the information and allowed it to happen. They enabled the attack. And it's like, it's a good job, you know, the producers of that show, they tried to be accurate and they tried to leave nothing to chance, but they had such little faith. It was like from a very leftist perspective, a show about a Mossad agent, and it was very much on the side of, we need to end this senseless war. It was like anti-war. It was anti that struggle, and it was trying to educate us to say, isn't this senseless? And it's a good show, but it's like, isn't this senseless? Isn't this endless war of assassins? It's like, this is really bad. This is dangerous. This is destructive, and this is not helping anyone, and it's not bringing anyone further or closer to a victory. Neither side, none of these people are going anywhere. It was giving that message as to this war's hopeless. People should really take some care to have a look at this thing that goes on between this constant war of assassins between Israel and Iran, and it's endless. And it's like, say to stop it, no. Endless. But it's like the makers of that show had too much, actually, gave too much respect to how dangerous the Iranians were, and didn't give their own government the credit it was due for being far more diligent in doing war than they portrayed it in the show. I wonder if the Tehran show was in some way propaganda to portray the Israeli defence construct as being a little bit crazy and a little bit incompetent. I'm telling you, it's like, if there was ever an in-your-face, straight-out-there propaganda, even maybe Mossad product, in the media, it was the Apple Plus TV show Tehran. And like I say, the world that show is set in is now gone. It doesn't exist. It's like almost an alternate reality. They could never bring back that show because, hey, it's done. It's over. It's like Iran no longer have a stick to rattle. You can't saber rattle without a saber, and Iran have had their saber taken from them. I can only imagine, right, what the media in that part of the world that basically hates Israel, what they're saying right now. It'd be like, they'll be holding out for some kind of divine intervention or miracle, reaching out for fucking magic, calling for all the brothers in the world to set about fucking going to the mattresses and reaching for some terrorism, which is absolutely fucking absurd because the war is over. Revenge be a thing, but how far is it going to get you? It's over. Not a nuclear fucking bomb dropped, just the right choice of weapon, the right plan, and an astonishing masterstroke, Trump, just in giving the Israelis what they want. How do we end this war? Give the Israelis what they want. It's the only way to end it. The only one, apart from my suggestion, which was unconditional surrender. Which I knew was never an option, but that was the only way not to get drubbed, battered, humiliated, and have many people who could have been alive dead. That was the price. There was no turning the Israelis off. Once they ask the question of the big guy, are you getting this? Are you seeing this? And say, the voice calls back, I see it. The way they were talking, the way they all reached for the old book. It's like you knew exactly what was coming. I knew. Every time I think of Gaza, there's a photograph that was going around. It's not a new photograph, one from probably about 6 months ago or so, which shows a place sort of half built. You can see what it looked like, but the rest of it's just fucking smashed. And it's like I carry it around in my head, the picture of Gaza, when I think about it. Every time I think about it, I always think about this one picture that I saw. And I think of this picture, and I looked at it for a long time. When I looked at it, I'm thinking, they'll have to demolish every single one of those buildings when you consider the building next door was like destroyed by having its foundations incinerated by a fucking incendiary. So that is a pretty precision way of fucking knocking a building down. But I tell you what, if there's any such thing as fucking health and safety around there, it's like every single fucking building in that city with the concussion damage they've taken from bombing need to come down. They're all unsafe. They're all cracked. They're all smashed. It's like they didn't flatten. The place hasn't been flattened, but they might as fucking well have done. It's like I've seen it before. It's where Manchester got bombed once. Not a particularly big bomb, but you see how much damage high explosive does to. Out in a field full of tanks and stuff and soldiers. There's not so many windows around that can be broken by a high explosive. If you were to get caught up in a high explosive blast in a residential area, the thing that would probably do you the most harm would be your fucking window flying at you. Piece of furniture fucking coming flying at you. And that's if you didn't cop for being fried by the radiation of it. To be caught in the explosion, which can just maim you, just cook half of you. So you start dropping weapons like that on urban areas because that's where the war's being fought. It's like the nature of casualties. Oh God, you know, you see these pictures. It's like they're the pictures they can show you. The ones they can't. They won't show the ones they can't. You go on the internet and find the ones they can't show you, if you want to see them. I don't ever feel the need to go looking for things like that because I just know. I once made the mistake of some fucking political sort of group that had got my email, and this be a very long time ago. And you must see this video, click this link. And I had reason to think that it might be something. Well, I knew it weren't spam or porn or trap. So I hit this video and got to see what looked like a swimming baths or else a school locker room, and everyone who was once there had looked like they'd been cut up with chainsaws, power tools. and this was an atrocity. One side, there was no one to say who did it to who. There was obviously the side who was sending me that picture of saying, "Oh, the Serbs did this." But all I could see is just what had been done and what people do to people and fucking carnage. And it's like, who the fuck could ever justify that? Who took part in that? Why does it come to this? What might these people have done to fucking deserve such an outcome? And ever since then, it's a matter of, I watched that it were only a short video, but I saw just people who've just been cut to bits, blood everywhere. And it was one of them. It's on, and it was only about 20 seconds long, and I watched it. And I'm like, yeah, that's about as much as I need to see that, to imagine it. That's the picture I carry with me. I don't need to look any further than that. It's to see what people are capable of doing to fucking strangers. Because that's a matter of all the dealing with here, isn't it? Just strangers. It's like you learn that lesson as to what people are capable of doing. It's like there's an hell of a lot, fucking damn lot wrong with how things work in this country. It's like in some regards, it might seem like a funny thing to say, but there's the people in this country might really almost thrive in that extra layer of state intervention of a place like Iran. Might even seem like a fucking safer place than Manchester. Where it's a matter of, the country we live in is a free-for-all. For probably the greatest marketplace in the world for fraud. There doesn't seem to be that many, that much police that are that interested in cracking down on things like that. Definitely the home for fraud. Soon to become the world's hub for the trafficking of human embryos and organs and stuff. Soon to be the organ harvesting capital of the world with the euthanasia laws and the final stage abortion thing. It's like for criminal enterprises worldwide, Britain is a place where you can set up, and you don't really have to do anything for the system to. If you move along the right lines, if you say the right things, you don't really do very much. You don't have to do very much for the system to actually defend you without you even having to do anything. Say, we live in a country that's a free-for-all. Now, I do hear that, say, Iran has certain structural problems, but is it a free-for-all like it is here, I wonder? Or does it maintain some social cohesion through its collective Islamism or collective faith in Islam? I do have an opinion that something like the Islamic element of the Islamic State of Iran is just a joke, and it's more or less just a communist dictatorship that has Allah too. You see, Allah is the same God as the old God, and Allah doesn't really have a will of his own. He's more of a judge. As to in the past, I've spoke to Muslims who've been properly educated in their own religion and have been truth hunters like my good self, and they've been Muslims, and they've told me all kinds of different versions of it as to where Allah's a God that always watches me. I can't hide from Allah. And they're, to my mind, are the good Muslims. They're God-fearing, like hell. And it's like God-fearing people tend to think about the repercussions of their actions. So in that, there's many, many Muslims who are actually wise. Be students of Allah who are true to Allah. And you should be cut and dried straight down the middle. The better Muslim you are, the more accepting you'd be of others, and the more sure you'd be of your own convictions if you lived as clean as you're supposed to. It's like clean living. There's dregs and there's rotters and there's low class people and people of low quality amongst the certainly the Pakistani communities that I've had to do with. But the rank and file are social conservatives, the likes of which you wouldn't believe. You know that if the conservative movement in Britain was actually conservative, all the Muslim Pakistanis would all vote for him, because that's what they're like, most of them. I've had this thing going on with my ear for a long time. It's given me a lot of grief, and I've always tried to do things to sort it, and they always say, squirt olive oil in it, buy the fancy ear drops, and it's been bad, and I had a doctor look at it a couple of times for me. And he says, yeah, that ear is 90% blocked. I'm like, he just says, oh, get some drops, blah, blah, blah. So I've had another course of that, and then I went back and I said, them drops don't do shit. They're not good for me. And doctor looks at it and goes, yeah, that needs syringing, that, mate. It's like the fact you've been using the drops should have softened it, so it probably would be good to have it syringed now. It's probably ready for it. So it's like, I'm like, where do I get that done? Well, the NHS doesn't do it anymore. I suggest you go to Specsavers. Specsavers to get my ears done. It's like, if you're not got like an ear, nose and throat hospital anymore, it's like, no, Specsavers do all of it now. I'm like, what? So I goes to Specsavers and they say, no, we don't do it in Rochdale, they only do it in Oldham and Bury. So I'm like, oh, that's not good. So I got home and then I typed in earwax removal Rochdale, and they're a firm called Earwax Removal Rochdale. Right? Called that. And it's like, as some kind of bot just named it for me, but no, that's what the firm called. And I rings up this number, a mobile number, and it was, yeah, hello, yeah, my name's Mr. Collins. I'd like to I'd like to get my ear syringed. And she's like, okay, where are you? And I'm like, what, I just need to make an appointment. She's like, no, I'll come out and do it. Where are you? She was doing it within an hour and a half, and she's like, I wanted to, and she turned up before she said she would likely go into, and then she's like, right, I've cut a corner here. I've got my son with me, and if you don't mind, if he's just quiet, I'll do it while he's here, because it's like, I can do you. It's like, if I have to run him back and come back, if you're happy with that, we can kill two birds with one stone, and I'll do your ear for you, right? She was it's not a hijab like a ninja, but she was a Pakistani woman, had the full dress thing going on. Beautiful looking woman. She'd have been about 35, dead friendly, dead sweet, and extremely competent in what she was doing. And she just comes along and she says, right, I need you to fill that with lukewarm water for me. Go and get a towel, sat me down on me arm and me settee here, and just did me ear, charged me 45 quid. And she was brilliant. She was like a professional, and also she did an excellent job. She explained everything that was going on. She was like, went through every step of it, saying, "Ooh, dear me, there's a lot of this in here. There's a lot of wax in here. Yeah, like, we're gonna have to do this, and we'll do this." And she's like, "No, while I'm here, I'm gonna make sure I get it all out." Turns out, I didn't even really know how deep my own voice was, because my ear had been just perpetually blocked for a couple of years. I used to have it where sometimes I get a bit of water in it, and I was completely deaf in one ear, just get a bit of water in it. And I'd been making do with it and got it fixed, and it's like, so it's weird that it's like, I went and got my back fixed, right? And the guy who fixed it was this Greek fella, right? Who looks Turkish, called Yanni, or Yanis. And he's pretty much changed my life, fixing me back and fixing me neck. It's like, he wasn't some, good Christian soldier from Bolton. He was an immigrant from Greece, and strangely quite highly skilled one, even though they talk about them osteopaths being no better than hippies, pretty much. Medicine men in that regard. The NHS doesn't recommend the use of them. But I got my back fixed for 400 quid, where if I'd have gone and had some kind of elaborate tests and x-rays and all this, it could have been talking about thousands, couldn't I? It's not so bad now. But yeah, he was a sort of a wonderful Muslim fellow from Greece. Very nice, and it's like left now, but it's like bye bye. He's gone back to Greece. He's gone back. He's gone working over there, and it'd be a matter of. But he will come and visit from time to time. Like, what a brilliant lad he is. And you get talking to the locals who are like, oh yeah, he does mine too. Yeah, brilliant him. My sister has had a lot of trouble with sciatica, which has led to a massive change in lifestyle as to where she's basically got herself a lot fitter, and it's made it a lot better, eased it up a lot. And yeah, he's her osteopath as well. She's like, oh, saved my life. My heart consultant, he's a Pakistani fella called Alam. He's about 35 years old. Absolutely 100% completely a consummate professional. Keeps it simple. Super dedicated. Leaves nothing to chance. When he can, keeps you in the loop. Took me on as he doesn't do surgeries, or he doesn't do surgeries. You know what I mean? Where you go in and consult, but he's taken me on as a patient anyway because I got a complicated case. He's interested in it. I think Mr. Alam, Pakistani fella from probably Bolton, going by his accent. Hell of a bloke. The guy who was my heart surgeon was this Pakistani fella who looked and sounded exactly like Armand Iannucci, the writer and comedian. And he was hilariously witty and super intelligent, and was doing the job of training the trainees, keeping them engaged. So you've got a lot of student doctors. You see all the student doctors, and it's like, who are the student doctors? Two guys who look like Koreans, and two young Pakistani women who were just beautiful. And they were the people there with the clipboards and the pads and the phones and the computers, taking the notes. They talk to each other like they're from a different planet. By way of what they were like and they were into and what they thought was cool, but in being keen on learning and understanding this shit, absolutely bang on the ball. As to where there's a thing with certainly the Pakistani influx of people into this country. We have taken a lot of very high value, high-skilled intellectuals from that part of the world. Useful people. I think and this is a thing, it's where Rajami is a thing, and it's where actually guys I know are a thing. Who they've in essence, they're in George Galloway's organisation, but I think they need to set out on their own and show people how valuable Muslims are, or the best of them are. They should. You should throw this sectarian game of Palestinians getting elected on the back of sympathy for no, terrible. I hated that what Galloway did when he got elected in Rochdale and give it that this is for Gaza. I'm getting messages from mates of mine across the world. It's like, is that your town, Rochdale? It's like, really put you on the map there, didn't he? Why did I side with Galloway? Because I knew he could win. That's the only reason I sided with him. Not a million miles away from him on his views. He's got to say, to some degree, a strong sense of what the moral right is. But over this old allegiances thing, and these almost ancient commie beliefs that he holds, idealistic, utopian. It's like they've led him to like the end, haven't they? By way of all those, his side, if there is a side, have been decimated, utterly defeated. It's like those who invest emotionally in a cause, they really suffer when they're defeated. Just much like a die-hard supporter of a football team feels it in his heart when his team get thrashed. It's like there must be an incredible amount. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not trying to wind people up or anything. I just put it out there. There must be a deep sense of loss and failure amongst those who'd heavily invested in this conflict. As to where there's no one coming to save the Palestinians now. Absolutely no one. It's over. There's no one left to fight. It's astounding what's happened. And then it's a matter of Trump. Wow, what an incredible move the dad made. And it'd be a matter of that force that moves in those Israelis. It moves in Trump too. He's got some kind of I'll say a kind of divine attention as to where he's got some kind of deal going on with the big guy. He's got some big deal going with the Almighty himself. Big deal going on. The way that he's been protected, and I don't mean protected by lawyers' systems, I mean protected from not going crazy when they've come after him for years. It's like everyone's diagnosis of Trump as some kind of sociopath, narcissist, you've all proven to be incorrect. What the guy is a fucking apostle. And it's like, you can't stop one of them. They might come across and sometimes appear as if they're narcissistic and even dumbass, but unfortunately, you can't stand in the way of an apostle. That's what Trump is. It's like you've misread him. It's like the narcissist, right? Fundamentally, that kind of guy is pretending to be something he isn't. It's fundamentally what he is. He has a false self that he projects out into the world, and the real him is seldom seen. And the narcissist is fundamentally impersonating someone, impersonating what he wants you to think he is. Most of the time, real narcissists are impersonating Jesus himself. They've all got some omnipotent streak in them, which is at the core of the narcissism. And it's like, in the case of an apostle, that's just what he is. He's the real deal. He's not pretending to be anything other than what he's putting in front of you. That's an apostle. They may come across like a narcissist, but they are in essence the people who narcissists pretend to be. So that's where the whole world's misdiagnosed Trump. If the world was right about Trump's character as to why he was dangerous, the moves they made to bring him down would have worked. Because they'd have been able to force him to have a narcissistic break. Never happened. Which means that is what you could ostensibly say call his identity is absolutely fixed, solid. And words are pretty much fucking wind, aren't they? It's like they're wrong about Trump. That's where they've not been able to beat him. They're wrong about him. And those who go, hey, you know what, he's a fucking hero, him. They're right. And he's the real thing. The left are screaming, this guy's fake. And the right are saying, no, he's real. He's the only one who's real. He's actually really that guy. He's not pretending to be somebody else. He's not covering up his history very much. Because it's just out there, he can't do anything to control it. And he's not pretending to be someone. He isn't a Manchurian candidate who's got no history, who just suddenly arrives on the scene. He ain't that. It's like Trump has proved himself when given opportunity, which is a thing that's come of this recent conflict, would have the will to see a way to stop it. And what was the way to stop it? We all agree that Israel won, and we give them what they want. They got no reason to fight, no more. They've been given what they asked for. They've been given what they demanded. And they no longer have a reason to fight. Iran has been effectively punished. And punished in, this is the thing here, right? If you think of all the trouble and shenanigans around the world that Iran have had their dirty fingers in, funding terrorism, funding mercenaries, funding groups, funding the destruction of their nuclear program for all their crimes is probably fair. Now it's like if Trump is Trump the apostle, that would be the only consideration he'd make. That's the thing, people misunderstand God. God's a punisher, wants to be sated even. But he wants his apostles to be fair. And God left to run riot would be the death of us all. But apostles, with the power and the judgment. It's like there's not many of them. So it's a matter of thank God for Trump, because Kamala Harris would not have been able to have a mind even to see there's a possibility that this can be solved. She just spunk money into the machine. Where Trump, he shut it down, hasn't he? They're confounded. It's like you're up against arseholes, you're up against cultists, you're up against collectivists, you're up against important people with massive egos. What's the best way to deal with them? It's to confound them. Have them ask the question, what the fuck do we do now? Leave them astonished. That series of like messages, texts, even social media posts, well, those pretty much that payload of bombs are on the way. Psychologically broken his enemy. That's if it's not, if tranches of it are not lost in translation. Taught them how to really do it. Taught them how to saber rattle. Taught them how to mouth off the way that they do. Use their own tools against them and then drop fucking great big bombs on their most valuable infrastructure. And then laughed at them. Remember that meme? I was going to mention it. There was a meme that went around on the day that all those pages exploded. And it was a badly drawn figure. And the quote was, explode their dick and balls and then mock them. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I personally found that to be absolutely the funniest fucking thing I'd seen. But that was exactly what was going on at that time. I say, your Israeli celebrities are all giving it fucking thumbs up. Well pleased. It's like, that's war done right. That's war done. Modern war done right. Psychological war. The elements of psychological warfare that went into this campaign were astonishingly effective. Very, very good indeed. Excellently played. I have to say, I'm not being a fanboy or anything. The victory that's been, won the lack of loss of life is like a miracle. Seriously, it's like even though a lot of Palestinians have died in that part of this conflict, elsewhere it's kept to a minimum. And armed forces have been neutered. And civilian deaths have really been at a premium, at a minimum. It's like, don't go throwing numbers up at me saying 961 Iranians have died. It's like, out of how many? It's like, have you seen what wars are like? Just go and look at how many civilians were lost by a country like the UK in World War II, and it's a bloody high number. With the weapons of the day, an high number. We're getting towards, it's a large number. I used to know it off the top of my head, and that's why I brought it up, but now I can't be completely accurate, so I'm not going to bring it up. Go and look it up, but that's what war looks like normally. It's like military losses by the Israelis. They can absorb them if somebody, if their military is needed to be called upon again. It's intact. It's not been destroyed. Too few of those missiles got through to do any meaningful damage to Israel's defensive capability. They're 100% standing. They need to be ready for war again. They need rearming and refitting and just replaced with reserves. They didn't lose anybody. They lost a few, but they didn't lose any. Their air force has not been mauled. You'd have thought at some stage, with all these wonderful anti-air gadgets that are kicking around in the world, that their air force might have got mauled. Didn't. They had a plan. They worked it perfectly. They left nothing to chance. They fought for the sake of their own personnel. Fought one of the safest wars that's ever been fought. They weren't willing to see a single one of their troops dead, and they didn't really give anyone an opportunity to get at them. They didn't offer combat. They didn't engage in any kind of battle that they could lose. It's like, you can't fight against that. It's like, why are you even thinking about it? It's like, now that the Middle East has had a dose of war and another defeat, there's been a few of these over history where the Israelis have won a massive victory. It's like, will this one stick? Previously, there's been no will in the world to back up any Israeli win with any meaningful solution or settlement. When the ball goes into the world's court, they tend to send it back with just a lot of shit all over it. It's like, maybe now that, because Israel, let's put it right, they now all hold all the cards, and it's now up to them to build some bridges. There's a strong Israeli supporting guy on Twitter. I retweeted him. People were saying, John's retweeted a Zionist, and it's like, well, he happens to be right. And he'd be like, take the silliness away. Israel and Iran do not share a border. They're not in competition for resources. And both could flourish without even doing business with each other. There's a modern generation who don't even know why they're at war, or have got this beef that the current generation have inherited. Now is the best opportunity that's ever arisen to let the bad blood go, marginalise it out of existence, work together to, and it seem like a cliche, but work together to create something better, which is what's going to happen anyway, because so much of like Gaza has been utterly destroyed. Of course, what you're going to rebuild it with is going to be better. Of course. So when the place is smashed, you can say build a better place, because the place is smashed. It's like the thing that would now need to be, it's like The world is probably now on the lookout for saboteurs. Seriously, in view of the fact that the Iranians are just done with, out of it. And now the onus is on the rest of the world to, whenever it uncovers that kind of activity, be right on top of it. I'm reminded that it's now only a month ago since an Israeli terror cell was busted in... Not Israeli, sorry, what am I saying? An Iranian terror cell was busted in Rochdale. Now it's like, even the craziest of crazy fanatics should by now have really got the order seriously to stand down. It's astonishing what's happened as to Iran has been taken off the map as a player suddenly. It's like there's a chance, an opportunity to move on from this fight, to better understand it and walk the fuck away from it. And I encourage everyone else to do that. I'm going to. I knew the outcome when it started. I didn't expect it because it was a surprise to everybody when it came, October the 7th. But I've been absolutely sure of its outcome since the first shot of the battle. Since the first shot. I've known how it ended. No one listens to me, but I did try and warn everybody. I said, do not get your hopes up here. It's like you've awoken, the boss here, and he's really good at war, and he's difficult to like. He's difficult to deceive, and he's a punisher. Not a sadist, but a punisher. And there are certain considerations the big boy might make as to where can those women and children be saved? And I'm not kidding. I'm like, when you awaken the boss to go to war with atrocity, you're going to be outthought, you're going to be outfought, you're going to be outsmarted. You're up against an enemy that's resourceful and unpredictable and powerful. And for many, many years, I've heard many, many people claiming to know something who would say that the Israelis are evil, ruthless. It's like, well, your own words. Swallow them. Fucking warned everybody. I was like, no one listens to me, but you yourself say that those people are evil and ruthless, racist. Why provoke them the way you did? In fact, did you have a desire to die in a glorious war? Well, those who dreamt that, they got what they wanted, and then they basically left everyone else to fend for themselves. The real war criminals, and this is Netanyahu, the real war criminals are Hamas, who've put their own civilian, non-fighting population in peril, and then just left them to it. To think that somehow international pressure would stay the hand of the boss is pretty incredible. A mistake. A failure to recognise the forces that had been unleashed. And do you see how well they did? It's astonishing. People are going to be talking about the way that this war has been fought for hundreds of years. Dust hasn't settled yet. We don't know what the repercussions of this are. But it'll be a matter of the Iranian economy at this moment in time will be at sixes and sevens, and there'll certainly be all nature of problems in their country at this moment in time as to what they tell the people as they pick up the pieces of the now destroyed folly. It should be pretty entertaining, because I'm telling you, they will have a fucking excuse for it.